All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Saturday, February 26th edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. Hope everyone's having a fantastic start to your day. We're going to dive right in to some of the coolest errors and varieties that folks like you and I are finding out in change. And then furthermore, these are going to be some other coins that have been found by going through coin rolls. All right, coin roll hunting is one of the biggest kind of like search activities in the hobby today. And for me personally, I could probably speak for a few folks that are listening. I personally like to go to coin shops and smaller local shows and cherry pick dealer stock. Primarily the more raw stuff that isn't graded. Because you're going to find that a lot of dealers really don't care about some of the more fringy kind of minor errors and varieties, and normally they'll just leave those in there. If a coin dealer is good, they're not going to have any time whatsoever to really cherry pick their own stock. So this would be a good way for folks to go out there, enhance their collection by picking up non-attributed coins at a coin shop or show for a really cheap price and add it to your collection. Or, you know, you can take a page out of my book and a few other people's book and flip these coins and make a really good profit. You're going to find that some of the RPMs and double dies and transitionals that you're going to come across going through dealer stock are worth a lot of money. All right, pick something up for $20, sell it for $100. You get the big idea. Another thing to keep in mind, every single coin is raw. We don't talk about graded coins on this list, and the real reason why is grading carries such a huge expense, especially if you're using like PCGS, where you're going to spend on average about $85 to $95 to grade one singular error coin. So let's say you have this really cool error. It's probably got a market value as it sits of about $40 to $50. You send it off to grading. There's no guarantee that it's going to enhance the value. And then at that point, you'll probably be throwing your money away. So, you know, I like to really talk about raw coins that you could find and flip. All right, the whole process is really quick. To list an item on eBay, but we're going to look at all these eBay listings from about the last day and a half is what we have here. Very, very active day. A lot of really neat stuff, all right? One of them, of course, you saw the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about some cereal that did sell, but how does that all play out in the numismatics world? You're going to have to find out here in a moment. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in to our first lot of coins here. Starting out with one of my favorites, and I have yet to this day have been able to either buy one because the opportunity has passed me by, or to find one of these in change. But this is a 2001 P Roosevelt dime with a really phenomenal rim-to-rim die crack, but it's got a lot more going on here. Some would even say that this is classified as a shattered die. I think with shattered dies, you gotta have three or more die crack points that hit the rim. This one, I think you could make the case that it is that. It's just a really substantial error when you first see it in person. It's quite dramatic, and these coins have come out. I've seen them sell for as high as maybe $500 to $1,000. Depending on how wild they are, how nice of a condition they are. But this one right here, this is a really nice one here. And again, just based off of the overall circulation wear, this thing has passed through many hundreds of hands before it was ultimately saved and pulled out. One of the coolest things that you'll notice on here, you see the motto, "In God We Trust." There's a huge amount of shift from the whatever letters and words are on the left side of that crack to what's on the right side. So there was a lot of shift in that piece of the die that became way terminal. As far as sales, this one sold for $92.11 with 2 bids, which is quite good considering its condition. It's not a high grade piece. I would say it's probably maybe a VF kind of grade somewhere in there. It's not a high-end piece at all, but it is a really, really neat error, and one in which that will pay off huge dividends if you're able to find one going through bankrolls. Well, we are here. Time to talk about 3 boxes of cereal. All right, we got 1 box of Honey Nut Cheerios and 2 other boxes of regular standard Cheerios. These were all released around the year 2000. All right, yeah, they are 22 years old. This just to let you guys know, this 3-box set of cereal sold for $1,195 shipped. Which seems like a lot of money, but I promise, there's a really good reason why that it's sold for this kind of money. As you can see, these are the aforementioned boxes where you could find the quote-unquote Cheerios coins. Oftentimes, you'll probably find the Lincoln cent. I would say 99% of the boxes has that Lincoln cent, but you also have the chance of finding the brand new, at the time, $1 Sacagawea golden dollar. All right, they were referred to as the golden dollar because of the color of the coin. All right, that manganese alloy planchet really was shiny back in the day. But you could also have the chance of winning $100 worth in the new golden dollars. So yeah, kind of crazy. You guys know about this promotion. You guys know about the coins. Now today, the actual standard, just regular Lincoln cent, in the original Cheerios kind of, I'm not going to say government holder, but whatever I guess the manufacturer holder that they used to package up the Cheerios. As a matter of fact, I think probably the U.S. Mint probably packaged these up. I don't know. I had heard that someplace. And so if any of you wanted to chime in and kind of clarify on that, if you guys know about these, that'd be great. But obviously, the big draw from this is that dollar. However, getting back to the Lincoln cent, those typically sell today for around $10 to $20. They're just a neat kind of oddity. People like to get them and send them off to PCGS, but they have to grade really high to be, to really amount to something. But the Sacagawea dollar, of course, is the big draw on this one, and we'll get to that here in a second. But there's a quick little photo of all the seals on this one. You'll find that they're nice and tight. They don't appear to be resealed. You don't see any creases or bends in any of the tabs here. So that's pretty encouraging news. But this is the coin that we're going to be looking for. And yeah, it looks like just like any other run-of-the-mill 2000p Sacagawea dollar, right? Produced into oblivion. The Mint had produced quite a few of these, but so few of them exist with what they call the re-engraved Cheerios reverse. And when you look at the rear tail feathers here, you're going to see these finely engraved, I guess, diagonal lines on each individual tail feather, whereas the standard normal Sacagawea dollar, those are pretty smooth, and you don't see the refined detail of each of those lines. And that's how you could kind of tell one to the other. But this particular coin that you see on screen here is sold last year. I think it was like a NGC Mid-State 68 proof-like, sold for over $11,000. So it's quite the chase piece if you're able to find it. $1,195 for 3 boxes of cereal. The question really begs, are you brave enough to open these things? Because if you came away with 3 Lincolns, you probably have wasted all your money. But, 22 years later, I'm willing to bet that cereal still tastes the same with all the preservatives and crap they put in there. But yeah, really cool. I mean, I haven't seen a listing like this in quite some time. So this is I would say already in 2022, this is one of my favorite listings for the year. All right, so this particular seller had a 1981 Lincoln Memorial cent, and this is the only picture that was submitted in the listing. All right, I'm telling you guys, make sure you put both a full obverse and reverse listing. You're going to find that's going to do you a whole lot of good. And this case right here is a classic case of, oops, I didn't do exactly what I needed to do, and it sold for mere pittance. Off-center, 1981, with a full date, and if there was a mint mark, you would see that as well. This one is about, I would say, 80% off-center, give or take. but this particular coin only sold for $11 with 14 bits, which is not nearly enough for one of the more tougher dates of this off-center type of error. People do collect these by date, so this is definitely one of the more tougher dates. It was just a huge swing and miss on this one. And holy crapola, Batman. Take a look at this 2021 Tuskegee Airman quarter. Of course, this one, as you guys know, has that really phenomenal strike through on the reverse. That's right on the building. Kind of gives it that smoky, on fire look, like it got hit by a ballistic missile. But this one right here, just a really poor attempt at a crop job. I don't think it really hurt the listing that much, but there are better cropping software or, photo manipulation, photo editing software out there, even on your smartphone device. Was it Knockout Pro, I think, is a good one too if you just wanted to do a quick little crop job, and it's nice and accurate and it's circular. You're not going to have these kind of like hand cropped. These are hand cropped. So like on Adobe Photoshop, you can hand crop, and sometimes they look a little messy because they're using the actual contour of not only the coin but also any shadows that exist. But enough about that. You guys got a little bit of a photography lesson today. This one, really nice to see that the prices are still quite nice. The coin is in beautiful shape too. We're beginning to see less and less really nice mid-state examples of this as they're continuing to circulate out there. But this one sold for $225, which is a really good sale. Now here's another one of my favorites. This is kind of like your prototypical coin that I would cherry pick from a coin shop or a show. This is a 1921 Buffalo nickel. The coin is pretty well circulated. I would say it's probably like a good 6 on the grade meter. But this one right here, you guys probably already see it, is a 2 feather. All right, so it's missing this 3rd feather that would exist right here in this area. These are common for over abrasion or just an over polishing of that area. You would even see the little designer initial under the date also disappear as well. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is a good example for this particular date. I know they're quite scarce in certain dates, and people do collect these by date, and some people do send these out to graders. This one right here sold for $30 as a best offer listing. Now, we have a lot of 2, and I know there's 3 coins on this particular image right here, but we have 2 coins. They're both broad struck, and you're going to focus on the 2000 and 2001 Lincoln cents that you see here. And the seller had just thrown up a normal, just regular basic Lincoln cent. That's not broad struck. It's fine the way it is. But you can see that no collar was present when these are struck, so the metal flowed outwards a little bit more, making these coins a little bit bigger, probably closer to the size of a standard U.S. Jefferson nickel. Here's some reverse images of both coins. You can see that much more thickened area around the devices. This group right here of 2 coins sold for $10.38. Now we have a really nice pair of 1953S Lincoln wheat cents. All right, they seem to be in pretty decent shape. I would say kind of like that XF45 kind of grade, which is perfectly fine. I don't see any distracting carbon spots or any nicks or scratches that would disqualify a coin like this from being problem-free. But, this 2 coins are here for a reason, and it's the RPM. You can see that secondary S is north of the primary mint mark, and it's quite cool. It's very dramatic. And again, you're going to need that magnifier to get in close to a lot of these varieties. If you don't have a magnifier, check out my listings from Amazon below in the description box. We got them cheap in there, as low as like $6-7. But they are kind of like one of the important tools you'll need to really be successful in this hobby. So these are referred to as RPM number 6 in the, I believe the, was it doubledie.com files. And this one sold for $19.75 for the pair. So this is for 2 coins. Our first piece of currency on the list is going to be this 1977 $1 bill. So one thing I did notice is the 77 series, but take a look at the serial number, 1977. I think with that and the fact that this is a little bit miscut, is a really cool kind of like coincidental pairing of stuff on this note, which really kind of like, I think it's a really neat note, if you were into this sort of thing. Especially if you were born in 1977, then it has everything going for it. But you can see the evidence of the miscut on the reverse. You have a really wide margin on the top. And the note is circulated. You have 3 prominent folds on there, which automatically tells you it's been a wallet of some sort. This one sold for $29.95. Again, it's a rather minor miscut because, you don't have a portion of the second bill on there. Which is what people like to see for this type of error. But, with the 1977 in the serial number and the date of the series of this particular run of notes, it's just a really cool kind of coincidental, grouping of stuff. And $30 is worth it on this one. Now here's just a 1942 Lincoln wheat cent. It's not the prettiest of coins. It's got some pretty heavy rim bumps, especially on the obverse of the coin. But check that out. You also have a little bit of a lamination issue right above the date in that empty field area. So something as minor as this, guys, is worth, pulling out if you do find it. This one sold for $9.50 with 11 bids. Not too bad. And here's a 1998 Lincoln Memorial cent. Just a really cool coin. I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that, it's a copper-coated zinc and, it's going to have problems later in life as that zinc core is incredibly just susceptible to moisture and corrosion. But this is a double struck type. You can see it has a full date. The secondary strike is about 75-80% off center, and you have full liberty on there. It's a uniface, so you don't have anything on that little reverse area on the secondary strike. This one sold for $36.95 with 2 bids. And here's another nice off-center cent. Yeah, that worked out well, right? Now, we could determine that is from the 1900s, probably more so 1980s or 1990s, based off of the appearance and the fact that it's a copper-coated zinc. This one's off-center by about 60%. It's in really nice shape. No carbon spotting, no evidence of any sort of corrosion, so there is that. If you just need an example of an off-center strike coin, this is a good one here at $16.05. All right, well, you half-dollar roll hunters. This is actually a really good coin to look out for, even though it doesn't have a whole lot going for it. But this is a 1989p Kennedy half-dollar. For those of you that are really hung up on just finding silver, you might want to pay attention to this coin. This one right here has a little bit of a strike through right above the last digit and the date, and that's all really it has. It has nothing else going for it. It doesn't have any other neat errors. It's just that little minor strike through on the date there. $7.50, which is what? That's 190% silver half-dollar. So, yeah, pull this out and sell it and buy yourself a 90%er. That would work, right? Now, this is a cool one. Something you don't come across that often. 1922 plain, no mint mark. So these, as you guys know, in 1922 were only produced at the Denver Mint. However, through a myriad of different issues, the mint mark disappeared on a lot of them. You had certain examples that exhibited a weak D mint mark, which is also a variety type. But this one right here, no mint mark whatsoever. It has one of 4 different reverses for this pairing, and this one just so happens to have the one that you really don't want nearly as bad, which is that really weak reverse die. But as you can see on the obverse, it does have some lamination issues. So I don't really, can testify of whether or not this coin is bought more for the error or for just the date. I think more so the date, but Some would even say that the error aspect of this really kind of like brings down the desirability of such key dates. But something to keep in mind. They did, pointed out that it did have lamination. This one sold for $205.94 with 44 bids. I would say this is just a really good kind of like album filler coin. Album filler coin. Sorry, I was just chewing on my own tongue for a second. But yeah, for $200, you can't find one any cheaper than that. 22 plain Lincolns are quite scarce, raw. A lot of them are graded. Now we do have another small lot, but I think this one's really cool. And I tell folks that look out for the lots. The bulkier stuff normally would sell for a discount because it's multiple units in one. This is just a good example of a lot that I would probably entertain buying. Number one thing is that they're all earlier obsolete wheatback cents. This has a 1946 Lincoln with a pretty good lamination reverse. I think that coin by itself would sell for around maybe 10 to 15 bucks. Let's see, we have a 1944, a little bit darker. Some would say there's a little bit of corrosion on that Lincoln there, but it does have a cud die break on the obverse. You can see that right there at the base of Lincoln's bust. And then also we have a really nice grade 1942 Lincoln with a curved clip. Just a really nice kind of like trio of coins here. This one ended up selling for $25.49 with 3 bids. I think buying this has a lot of potential to double up if you did resell each coin individually. Which is a possibility. Again, the lamination in today's market is around $10-15. The cud is easily 30 and up. And then that clip is about another $10 to $15. Just a really clean lot here. I would certainly entertain something like this for resale. Here's a 43 Lincoln Steely. It's got a little oxidation. It's been oxidized and circulated. But the important thing is it's never been reprocessed or replated, which is good. This one has a little bit of a curved clip, as you can see there. Now, keep an eye out for these. This one, I'm a little still unsure of whether or not this is a real clip. This just seems a little bit unnatural, but I wanted to bring this up because I really don't see any really good evidence of a Blakesley effect on the reverse or obverse of the coin. So I wanted to kind of like draw your attention to a coin that is questionable, only because, we do see a little buildup of material here along this edge, where on normal kind of legitimate clips, you don't see that. So this one, I'm kind of 50-50 on, not really sure, but it did sell for $19.99. And we have a 2-coin lot here, a 71D Ike dollar and a 73D Kennedy, both with a few little shallow clips. Okay, these are legit ones, right here above the R on the Ike. And then a pretty decent one right here, right under the one in the date. All right, so we do have a couple clips here. Blakesley effect on both of them. I could see the Ike dollar more noticeably on the obverse, and you could see that on the Kennedy as well. This 2-coin lot here, actually a very, very nice listing. Sold for $91.42 with 11 bids. I think the rarity and the scarcity of an error on an Ike dollar is what kind of pushed this one to that level. And from the same seller, here's also a 2-coin lot of what we have here, Liberty V nickels. We have a 1909 and a 1910. Really well worn. I would say these probably grade no higher than maybe a good VG. But normally people want to see some letters in this headband here for Liberty. But we turn them over, and these are nice strike-throughs. Based off of the size and shape of these were either struck through a detached lamination peel that had fallen onto the planchet prior to the strike, or these were struck through maybe a scrap piece of wood. All right, they kind of have that kind of like graining and appearance and irregularity in size for that type of strike-through. Just a really cool 2-coin set here. Sold for $31 with 4 bids. So there you go. There's a quick little update on the 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware Crown die chip. This has that big old gnarly die chip above Washington's hat that really kind of blew everybody away last year. And, seeing as how brand new 2022s are out right now, How far have these fallen? Well, they've fallen quite a bit. These used to sell for $150 to $200 at its peak. This particular example sold for $75 with 2 bids. Keeping in mind that the coin is in phenomenal shape. This is like an out of roll type of specimen. Very nice mint state example. And yeah, if you looking to get one of these, yeah, now might be the time. I don't know how much further south these are going to head as far as price. I'm thinking maybe $50-$60 at its lowest, and then it's just going to settle there, and then they're just going to dry up. They're going to disappear, and then they're going to go back up in price for those nicer examples. And a quick little update on this one as well, the brand new 2022 Maya Angelou quarter. Everybody's favorite offer, so I'm going to just throw that out there and raise the ire of the collective. But yeah, this one right here has the good old bird carrying the twig and the small little die chip on the corner of Washington's mouth. A 2-error combo right here on this one. But where are we at on this? Are they still selling for right around $20? Yeah, they are. This one brought home $20.50 with 3 bids. They all seem to kind of range in the $10 to $20 mark for this one. So depending on how good your photos are and all that's going to determine how much you get. Here's another update on this one. Now, talk about fall from grace. These have slipped quite a bit. Here's another 2021 with that K3 to K7 die crack that you see there on the obverse. These, again, as recently as November, December, hit like wildfire. And at its highest peak, these sold for right around $350 to $400. So where are we at now? We know that the market was flooded for a little bit in January and earlier part of this month. And I think people that wanted an example did get it, and they're not looking for any more. This one right here is sold for $183 with 16 bids. Again, another great coin to find, and it's still worth a really nice chunk of money. Just because they've come down a bit in price doesn't mean that they're not worth looking for. And here's a 1977 Washington quarter, in its flip. I keep telling people, take the coin out of the flip and image it that way. You're just going to get a lot better photographic results. But in any event, you guys see it's got a really nice sized curved clip on here. And this one sold for $10.50. So we do have a number of listings from the same seller, and they're all phenomenal. This seller is cranking out some really nice errors. The pictures are really good, starting out with this off-center struck Washington quarter. This one right here is off-center, I would say by about 25%. It's got no readable dates, so we don't know what date it is or what mint mark. But it's a really nice mid-state example. So if you're looking for an example of an off-center Washington quarter, this is a good one here. And it's sold for, wow, really? $86.58 with 18 bids. So it's kind of like a guessing game amount of money right there. I think the grade really is what pushed this one above and beyond for what it is. Here's a 1989 Roosevelt dime. Pretty nice. Well, the seller had mentioned this was off-center, but you could also say that's a uncentered broad strike because you do have a full rim there on the skinnier side behind Roosevelt's head. And this one right here, again, a really nice high-grade mid-state example. You can see the flow lines and all that stuff there. It's got no damage to speak of. Just a really nice coin. This one sold for $23.75 with 18 bids. And here's another Roosevelt. This time, this one's off-center by about 80%. Again, another high-grade mid-state example. And I have a feeling that a lot of these were found in old bank bags, from that time, back when the Federal Reserve Bank was still issuing these as such. And this one right here, if you're looking for an example of a really nice off-center strike, this is a good one here. This one sold for $14.08 with 11 bids. And again, the prices for these no-date off-center strikes it kind of tells you the importance of having a full date on there because it's going to change the value dramatically of those. Here's a 1989 P. Well, everything is 1989 from this seller. They must have did a lot of searching of these bags then. This one's a double struck coin. You can see the secondary strike with the uniface reverse. It's got really no devices to speak of on the secondary strike. The secondary strike is about 95% off center. So that's like really wild and really out there. You do have a full date and mint mark. Really nice condition, yet again. Sold for $26.58 with 17 bids. And here's the 88p Jefferson nickel. Now, we'll say this one does suffer from some damage. You can see a couple of the scrapes on not only the obverse, but this really, really nice prominent one here on the reverse as well. This one is off center by about 20-25%. Outside of the damage, it's a decent looking coin. It's a off center date that you don't see that often. And this one sold for $41.58 with 27 bids. Imagine if it didn't have the scrapes, it would probably touch close to $100. That's how scarce this date is. Another double struck from the same seller. We have a 1988. This one's actually pretty cool. This is probably the coolest coin out of the group thus far. Double struck. The secondary strike is about 75% off center. It's a really nice high grade coin with very few distracting anything on it. So that's worth mentioning. This one right here ended up selling for $59.58 with 25 bids. And here's a large date 1982 copper Lincoln Memorial cent. This one's off center by about 50% on this one, so about half there. Really good coin. It does have a little bit of a scrape here on the reverse, which is common, considering that some of these coins had to go through sorting machinery and all that. And, when it hits a little piece of the machinery a certain way, then it'll cause things like that. But yeah, pretty cool coin right here. Sold for $27.13 with 11 bids. Oh boy, this is a good lamination here. It's a 1953D, it looks like. And yeah, it's got a really nice D-lam there, but also you still have nice chunky pieces of lamination still stuck to the coin. Coin's in decent shape. It does have a few kind of like nicks and stuff, depending on how crazy you were about, these rim nicks. There is that. But where we at as far as pricing on a much more radical looking lamination? We are actually at $22 on this one with 9 bids. Keeping in mind, because this is crazy, 5 years ago, you couldn't sell these for $2 to $3, but you could just see the change in market and the sentiment for laminations have changed quite dramatically since then. Here's another large date, 1982. This is another copper bronze. You can see that it's got no pull away of the copper plating if it was a zinc-in. Large date 82 broad struck example here. And this one sold for $14.18 with 9 bids. Well, it was bound to happen. But we had our one of the, not necessarily the first one, but as you guys know, the U.S. Mint had made available for sale the brand new 2022 Maya Angelou quarter lots. Whether they're 100 count bags or rolls. They had them on the P-minted coins all sold out immediately, like within the first 20 minutes of the sale. And yeah, this is actually a listing for a 100 count bag, so $25 face of the Maya Angelou. And you guys know there's a few errors to find in here as of right now. But yeah, these are packaged in boxes these days. So you're getting 2 boxes, I would imagine, or maybe it's 1 box with 10 rolls in there. Or, sorry, no, 1 box, 2.5. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, 2.5 rolls. So you got 2 long shotgun rolls and a half roll in there, I would imagine. But yeah, they're in boxes now. And this one, where you can pick it up for about, what, $40 on release day? It was like $38 and $39 and some change or whatever it was. This sold for $149. Yeah, the cash grab is real, and that's why these things sell out. Oftentimes, people will open them up and search through them, but there are a number of people that actually just flip the product as soon as they get it. Here's one of those classic cases, just a really tremendous flip. Keep in mind, there are 4 other releases of American Women quarters like this year. Let that be a little bit of a forewarning for you guys to keep an eye out for it. If you wanted to make some extra money, keep in mind, there is no household limit on these products. They are out there for the taking. And then finally, on the PCMR, usually we like to kind of, revel in the riches that people have made. But unfortunately, there are going to be a few people that have just really fallen flat on their face with their listings. How about this one? 1984 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is, by the way, the final coin of the day. Yeah, you guys see it's got that cud, right? That cud die break at the base of Lincoln's bust at the bottom there. Yeah, so where do we sell this one for? There you go. $2 plus $4.80 shipping. So $6.80 altogether on this one. And yeah, you know what the big miss is? The fact that, number one, there was only an obverse picture that was taken in a 2x2 cardboard flip. Okay, so obviously you have a very out of focus image right here. And then number two, there was no reverse image in this listing, so you couldn't check to see if it's got the weakness on the reverse. And number three, look at the listing title. 1984 penny error. All of the relevant keywords for a cud die break were not in there. Therefore, it kind of flew in under the radar. And this is a coin that someone will pick up. They could either add it to their collection, but more likely it's going to sell for around $30 to $35, which a lot of them have sold in that arena. So yeah, that's a huge miss there. Unfortunately, they do happen. But that's going to go ahead and do it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. I wish you guys happy hunting today and this weekend. But don't forget to also like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Ladies and gentlemen, love you guys. Happy hunting, Coinaholics. We're discovering together, and I'll see you on the next coin video. You guys take care now.